everyone, and thank you so much for coming back and joining me. So today I am going to be doing my review, thoughts and opinions on what I thought of this graphic novel, which is Doctor Strange, The Last Days of Magic, and this is volume 2, issues 6 to 10, and it's written by Jason Aaron and coloured by Chris Bachalo. I apologise, I will get better at this as I go along, guys, I promise. Not entirely sure the first of the exact, pronunciation of his name, but apologies. Same goes for volume 1, again, written by Jason Aaron, issues 1 to 5. Now, I did review this, which was The Way of the Weird. So if you haven't seen that review, certainly, you can go and check it out. But as a continuation on, The Last Days of Magic was really fantastic. What a fun read this was. I thought that the story arc was super interesting, intriguing, and very, very interesting. Now, what I said in my review of The Way of the Weird was that I really hoped that Jason Aaron would give us more information, basically, and delve into telling us more about the Empirical. But not only did he do that, and he literally jumped straight into this. There was no messing around by Jason Aaron, writing-wise. We started literally this graphic novel off, issue number 6, where the Empirical were literally attacking Stephen Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. And I did speak about the Empirical in my last review, but just to give you a bit of a rundown for anybody who didn't see my last review, basically they are a technological race who pretty much were in the same dimension. They came from the same dimension where Shumagorath, who, in case anybody doesn't know, is a beast, basically, where Shumagorath is worshipped. Now, the Imperator, who is the leader of the Empirical, his parents basically were studying and practicing science, basically. So his parents were studying and practicing science, but that's a big no-no. That is frowned upon. That is hector-freaking no, guys. That is just simply not allowed, right? The Imperator's parents were killed by blood monks. And basically, before they were killed, the Imperator was a very, very young child. So I find this really super intriguing, guys, because before they were killed, the mother said to these iBots, which are the robots which make up the Empirical, right? Because the Imperator is the leader of the Empirical. And basically she said to the iBots, my son, my child, he's number one priority here. So basically go and save him and take him away. And they took him away on a ship, basically. So he's the leader. And, there's these iBots, and there's also these super cool Witchfinder wolves, which I did speak about in my last review. So I was really happy, of course, to see them again as well. So basically, if you think about it, he was saved by science, literally saved by science. So that's why, of course, if you can understand from what I'm saying, that he hates magic. So what he is doing is they're going around and they are purging, purifying, sanctifying magic. They want to destroy it. They think it's evil. They think they're he believes, and he was telling this whole story to Stephen Strange, that he thinks that it's going to save the universe, basically, if he destroys every single last shard of magic in the whole entire world, right? And he even said to him, I'm going to go from world to world, dimension to dimension, pretty much getting completely rid of all the sorcerers. So the super interesting thing about this is Scarlet Witch was in this, and I also said in my last review, volume 1, that I was hoping that she was going to be in this, and of course she was. And what was really cool was all the sorcerers had to come together as a team up in this, and they had to help each other out as a team in order to stop magic from basically being destroyed completely forever. So they all have to go up against the Empirical, and of course that obviously involves the Imperator, who is the leader. Well, I just think that was a super cool story and a really, really, really cool concept. Now, in this, when it starts off, as I say, they are attacking Stephen Strange's Sanctorium. And the Imperator, I will actually just bring up pictures on the phone, guys. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to see. But he actually really put me in mind, kind of, look-wise, of Kratos. And if you've played God of War, you'll know who Kratos is. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I thought that was super cool. And oh my gosh, it was kind of badass because the Imperator actually literally tore up Stephen's cloak. And I don't know, I just find that super badass. And I want to actually show you because there is a really, really cool picture of him here. And you can see him turn up the cloak. And you can see a picture of him there. And that is actually the cover for issue number 7. So I thought that was pretty cool. What I really appreciated by Jason Aaron was how he wrote in the two characters of the Imperator and Doctor Strange, and definitely their relationship between each other, because in this, Stephen Strange was literally the last Sorcerer Supreme living, basically, and the relationship between them two was really cool because Stephen's magic is massively weakened in this graphic novel, and he's literally at the mercy of the Imperator. So I thought that was a really cool idea, and definitely the conversations, like the convos they were having, were fantastically written. I mean, the Imperator was telling him during fights, like trying to tell him all about his past and everything, and why Stephen was just the worst, literally like awful, because he obviously practices magic a great deal, of course, he's Stephen Strange. And like Stephen was like, but dude, I'm not like the way you're saying, I'm not that kind of man, kind of deal. And also I love how Jason Aaron adds in humour as well, but it's the right amount of humour. It's not like too corny or too cheesy or over the top or anything like that. So I like the humour that Jason Aaron has within this, and also with the last volume as well. So getting into talking about the art, which I want to talk about, is two interesting characters who, obviously, aside from Stephen Strange and the Imperator, who I thought was just so intriguing, my overall favourite was Dr. Voodoo, which I will talk about in a second because I want to talk about this awesome artwork. But another character that I really loved in this, because of the way he was written, was Monaco, because his character actually made Stephen Strange realise that, look, there is still fragments of small pieces of magic still out there. You know, you just kind of have to kind of find them kind of day. But he explained, you know, that magic would be, or is out there that can be found, but in weapons. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. You can find pieces of magic that's left in weapons. So, you know, Stephen Strange, along with the other sorcerers, you know, Scarlet Witch, everyone, you know, we're all looking for whatever traces of magic and fragments of magic that is left that they can conjure up, basically, to be able to go against the Imperial, and of course that obviously is going to be the Imperator as well. Actually, Monaco, he actually sacrificed himself because he transported Stephen away so that he could be saved, but then that actually, he died sadly, saving Stephen, basically. So I thought that was really sad, but I thought that was really cool how his character was written in. To Dr. Voodoo, he was badass in this, and the artwork within all the parts with him in it was my favourite. Oh, absolutely fantastic, phenomenal, and the colours, like bright fuchsia pinks. I'm colourblind, but they look like fuchsia pinks and purples. Now, that was my favourite art throughout this book in its entirety. And what I wanted to say was, like, for example, okay, I'm looking at this, okay, this page here, for example. And you see the Witchfinder wolves and the Eyebots, and also we have Dr. Voodoo. Now, when I'm looking at that art, I'm saying to myself, that is really detailed. Even that, like, whatever these are, like gravestones or tombs or whatever, that they're, you know, standing on top, they're very detailed, you know, there's like little cracks and crevices and stuff. And then it sort of all blends from the top down to the bottom. You know, all the colours kind of blend in. And I prefer the way the panels and everything sort of flow, because I kind of think the art does affect how you're reading the story and how the story makes you feel. And as well, that's what I was going to show you, because, like, for example, the difference of the Witchfinder wolves and the Eyebots, and then you look at this kind of artwork. Now, I'm not saying I don't like this artwork, but what I'm trying to say is the Witchfinder wolves look much more cooler and much more badass, like the other artwork that I was showing you. So I don't even know what sort of artwork that would have been, but sort of like sketchy, I kind of suppose. And I'm going to actually bring up a couple of pictures, I'll do this later on my phone, guys, of Dr. Voodoo that I thought was just super badass and was my all-time favourite artwork from this whole entire volume 2. Now the really cool thing about Dr. Voodoo is that he actually first appeared in Strange Tales, and I actually have been reading through a lot of Strange Tales. Where is my book? I should be more prepared than this, guys, really shouldn't I? From my Marvel Platinum Definitive Doctor Strange collection, so there's tons of Strange Tales in this. So I've really been enjoying them. I obviously haven't finished this. But also I was actually reading a bit up about Dr. Voodoo last night because I just found his character super intriguing in this. And I want to learn a lot more about him. But he, in comics called The New Avengers, which I actually haven't read, but he actually took over Doctor Strange as Sorcerer Supreme in those. So I thought that that was really, really cool. And how this graphic novel ends is really super cool, and I was really taken by surprise. So I thought that was really good writing by Jason Aaron. I did not know. I was taken off guard. I didn't not know how it was going to end because it didn't look good. Like, everybody was feeling, you know, the wrath of all this magic being taken away, and it was having a massive effect. Doctor Strange couldn't even fly anymore, and he was saying, you know, I'm a bit of a cocky guy. I even took things for advantage, you know, like something simple like flying, you know, because it's something he probably never really thought of. He just, you know, flies, you know what I mean? And the Imperator ripped his freaking well cloak open anyways. But basically the Imperator, okay, whilst his witchfinders and little minions, I suppose you may as well call them iBots, were going around and purifying and, you know, sanctifying and everything, right? And destroying magic completely from the other sorcerers. He went and rested in the mothership because he has to rest now and again, just in case anybody's interested. But when he comes back in Stephen Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, in his cellar, he comes across something that I guess his little minions didn't come across, which was basically, I'm just going to call it the Thing. It's like this creature, right, in Stephen's cellar. And whilst he's sort of battling that, we're just going to call it the Thing, Stephen Strange comes back with the other sorcerers, aka Scarlet Witch and everyone, what have you, and they come along with, you know, different pieces of whatever they have that have little sort of, you know, small amounts of fragments of whatever magic they have left, and one of which is the skull of the Ancient One that has like milled powder in it. And I find that kind of sad because Stephen, of course, because of who the Ancient One is to him, he didn't want to use it and he felt a bit weird about it, but he knew that he obviously had to. But that was kind of sad because he really did not want to have to, because it's his skull at the end of the day, guys. Not very nice, you know, a bit morbid. But they used that and poured that on the Imperator. And he then basically fell to the might of Doctor Strange, but also the Thing in the cellar. And then the Imperator was imprisoned in Stephen Strange's cellar in his Sanctum Sanctorum. And oh my gosh, I just find that such a cool concept, because if you think about it, this literally was very much to me a big story and history of the Imperial, and learning about their leader, the Imperator. But I just thought it was such a cool characterization between those two characters, the Imperator and Doctor Strange. I really did like how their characters developed from the beginning to the end. There was a couple of times pacing wise that I think were kind of, you know, jumping a wee bit too quick. But that's not even me nickety pickety or me being negative. Once I read from start to end and I, you know, finished it, I have to say I wasn't bored at all. I was thoroughly entertained. I enjoyed it. It had the right amount of humour, as I say, by the writer Jason Aaron. You know, it does have funny jokes in there. You know, Stephen was fighting the Imperator at one point, and, you know, he's saying, "What are you doing, Stephen?" And he's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I'm hitting you with magic, or I'm slapping you with magic, so get used to it. You know, so things like that. So he does know how to do humour. That is one thing that I would say. And I like the fact that all the sorcerers had to come together like a big team up and fight towards saving magic, you know, which is what they do. They do magic, and they don't want it to be completely destroyed, you know, forever. And Stephen knew that if he didn't win this fight with the Imperator, that's it basically, because he was obviously the last living Sorcerer Supreme, obviously. So I basically want to say I really enjoyed this. I would probably give it a 9 out of 10 because, as I say, you know, at times it did seem a wee bit like it was kind of jumping a bit much, but that's not even a bad thing, and I'm not saying that it was anything crazy or anything. I thoroughly did enjoy my read. I've got volume 3 and volume 4 in the house, so once I read those, obviously I'll come on and do a review of volume 3 and volume 4. But Yeah, before that, the only negative as well that I would give it as well is some of the artwork I honestly wasn't all that fussed on. Um, to be honest, it didn't kind of seem my kind of deal or the kind of art that I'm going to like. I mean, I'm fairly new to reading comics. This year, my goal was to start reading, comics and learning more about Doctor Strange and Loki, and that's clearly what I've been doing. But yeah, all the artwork with Dr. Voodoo blew me away. If I could have had that artwork from beginning to end, this is only my personal opinion, I'd have been freaking well loving it. Heck, it's freaking well, yes. So, top notch for the artwork where Dr. Voodoo was concerned. That is only my opinion. It's just in some parts of it, it seemed a bit more basic, which I'm not saying that it was bad, but I preferred the stuff that was much more detailed. I think I might have found an Easter egg, because in The Way of the Weird Volume 1, there's this like big teddy, right? And in Volume 2, Last Days of Magic, when they're sort of obviously looking for, whatever magic they can find and everything to conjure up, there's a teddy bear here. Hopefully you can see. So I don't know if that's like a little Easter egg that Jason Aaron added in, but if so, great find, Julie, and super cool of Jason Aaron. Just thought I would say that. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to end this off with showing the cover art for all the issues 6 through 10, and also the variant covers as well. So thank you so much for watching my review of The Last Days of Magic by Jason Aaron. So yes, please leave me a comment, and thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.